Just for volume to make sure everyone's good. My name is Lee Merritt, Leemerritt, lead attorney for the estate of AJ Hernandez. Okay, go ahead and put your name on the record, like there's.
Blairam Almazi. I'm also co-counsel on this case. Blerim, last name Elmazi.
All right. And we're standing here with two members of AJ Hernandez's family, his mom and his auntie. They're going to say their names and spell, but that's all they're going to say.
Linda Espinosa,
Spell it for us.
LYNDAESPINOZA.
Stephanie Martinez, STEPHANIE MARTINEZ.
All right, thank you all so much. Just a moment ago, we filed a federal civil rights suit on behalf of the estate of AJ Hernandez, which is administered by his mother, Linda Espinosa. That lawsuit was against Stephen Ramos of the San Antonio Police Department, as well as the city of San Antonio itself, alleging wrongful death under Section 1983 of the Civil Rights Act. There are multiple constitutional violations alleged under the Constitution, under the lawsuit, the most pressing of which was the Fourth Amendment violation, the unlawful search or seizure that manifested in excessive force in this case. We believe that the officers used more force than necessary to arrest Mr. Ramos, that there was no justification for the use of deadly force, but it follows a pattern that we've seen throughout the city of San Antonio, throughout Bexar County, of excessive use of force, followed by a quick ratification by the city and the municipality, something that needs to be challenged under the Monell claim. The Monell aspect of this lawsuit targets not only the actors, not only Stephen Ramos and the officer, but the policies of the city that continue to perpetuate the deadliest police culture in the modern world. There is no justification that a 13-year-old boy who was reported missing less than a month prior would be gunned down during a joyride call. The officers at no point indicated that these individuals, that Stephen Ramos at 13 years old, that AJ Hernandez at 13 years old represented a deadly threat to Officer Ramos, to his partner, or to the public. Absent a deadly threat, there is no justification for the use of force. What Bexar County told us, what the prosecutor officer told us, is that it's okay for San Antonio police officers to violate individuals' rights. What this lawsuit says is no, it's not. What the city of San Antonio has told us, by continuing to employ Stephen Ramos after he's caused the death of two civilians, one we know unarmed and completely unjustified, is that this is okay. What this lawsuit says is that no, it is not. The law is very clear. The law is particularly clear concerning when officers are authorized to use deadly force in situations like this. And officers are not permitted under any interpretation of the Fourth Amendment to use deadly force to stop a car from fleeing, to stop an individual from fleeing. When you use deadly force to stop an individual for fleeing absent an actual threat, you've committed a crime, and that's what we intend to enforce under the Fourth Amendment. Under the Fourth Amendment claim. You're going to hear from Mr. Blairam Almazi, who has drafted and who continues to be an instrumental part in the litigation. He's going to talk to you a bit more about the Monell claim and what we expect next in terms of the timeline for this lawsuit, what we're hoping to accomplish by bringing this lawsuit. I will go ahead and clarify, while the only damages available under the civil court are monetary damages, it is our hope to maximize the recovery, to get a record recovery, a financial recovery for this family, but also to force the city, and we hope that recovery forces the city to reevaluate, to change its policies, to bring them up to date. The Fifth Circuit, where this lawsuit has been filed, has repeatedly turned on the issues of officers shooting into moving cars. Shooting into a moving car does not prevent the car from moving. So if you're alleging, although we think the allegation here is disingenuous, but if you're alleging that the vehicle itself represented a deadly threat, the way to stop a moving vehicle is not to shoot the driver, because that will not, and in this case did not stop the vehicle. In this case, that the vehicle's never a threat again. Mr. Almazi will talk to you more about the specifics of the lawsuit, and then you'll hear from the family.
Good afternoon. This family expected, after the death of AJ, that the city and the county would do its job in arresting and prosecuting this officer for the death of their son. And absent that, the only means of justice in this case is doing what they did here today, which is filing this lawsuit against both Steven Ramos and the city of San Antonio. Now, in this lawsuit, what we know is that AJ, 13-year-old AJ, was boxed in, did not pose any sort of danger to these officers. What should have been a very minor traffic stop quickly turned into a deadly encounter when Officer Ramos immediately resorted to excessive force and the use of deadly force. We know that as of today, in filing this lawsuit, we expect we'll have a response from both the city and Officer Ramos within 21 days, and expect that they will challenge this under the Fifth Circuit's prior case law. But we are confident that the law is both on our side and that filing this lawsuit was the right thing to do for this family and for AJ Hernandez's legacy.
The next person you're going to hear from is Steven Ramos's mother, AJ Hernandez's mother, I apologize, and then we'll answer questions again about the substance of the lawsuit itself.
AJ Hernandez's mother. I just got a couple things to say. This lawsuit is my voice to the city of San Antonio. I reported my son missing in order to get help. It was not okay to release my son after he was found in the hands of traffickers. It is not okay to shoot and kill my son because he was running scared.
This lawsuit is my voice to the city of San Antonio. It is not okay for Steven Ramos to remain on the force knowing he has killed 2 people. So with this today, we as a family hope that San Antonio, the city of San Antonio, will hear us and the changes will be made.
Right. We want to reiterate the purpose of our lawsuit, in addition to bringing justice for the specific family, is that the city of San Antonio law enforcement agencies must begin to rein in their use of deadly force. We've seen over and over a pattern of abuse of civilians, where officers who are given the weighty responsibility of choosing when and when not to use deadly force, choosing when and when someone lives or dies. And if we're going to give them that kind of authority, then it must be guarded by the principles of the Constitution that up to this point it seems to be completely ignored. We'll take any questions that you all might have.
The evidence, obviously, the case was presented to the district attorney's office to a grand jury. But that grand jury didn't find the evidence. I don't know, but they didn't file any charges at the end because the grand jury didn't seem like. What does it tell you about the culture in this town?
I'm glad you asked the question about the culture of the presentation of cases before grand juries here in Bexar County. The presentation to the grand jury is a secret process. We have no idea what was told to that group of jurors, what evidence they considered. We do know who it was presented by. It was presented by officers of the San Antonio Police Department. Well, officers of the San Antonio Police Department got to go into a secret room and share facts with individuals about why they believe their justification for shooting a 13-year-old should suffice to let Officer Steven Ramos off the hook. We find that insufficient. The family was not invited to speak before the grand jury. The prosecutor had the opportunity to do that. The video demonstrating what happened to Steven, what happened to AJ, was not released until after the presentation to the grand jury, which we believe is a strategy to ensure that there's no public outcry concerning the murder. And so, no, we're not satisfied that there was a thorough presentation to the grand jury and that the only opportunity to get justice done was completed a year ago when that took place. In fact, we know that this is the best opportunity for this family's constitutional claims to be considered along with the facts. And we believe that a sober analysis of the facts, the evidence, and what the Constitution says about the use of force will determine that Officer Stephen Ramos and the city of San Antonio violated the Constitution when they allowed for the murder of AJ Hernandez.
The case is going to be obviously almost immediately appealed. So from here, it will go to the fifth, probably.
That's right.
And how do you expect that legal fight?
We know that the Fifth Circuit has put out some of the most conservative decisions concerning officers' use of force. They offer officers a wide latitude of when they're able to use force. However, the Fifth Circuit has repeatedly turned on the issue of whether or not officers are authorized to use deadly force with shooting into moving vehicles. And their decision has been consistent with best practices all over the country. It is not sound police practice to shoot into a moving vehicle. It does nothing to increase officer safety or civilian safety. It only creates an unnecessary danger. And in this case, it killed an unarmed 13-year-old lost child. And so that is not something that we feel will stop this case from moving forward.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all so much for your time. What's wrong? Okay.
No, I'll tell you.
Yes. Go ahead.
All right.
Thanks. We just got
So this is the house
So you can they'll get some time to turn around. I don't think they get
Se oye todo.
Entonces ella está
and
así
obviously
tratando de,
they're going to send the car itself.
no, que no